Hello again, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to look at how to run a risk assessment and how to create risk registers. And not today we won't be covering how to create templates and including the use of AI. That will be the subject of another video. So let's get into it. We're going to the risk assessments. And what we'll notice up here is that we have a number of templates sitting under system templates, and these are created and allocated by PrivIQ for everyone to use. And if you want to use them, then it's simply a matter of copying from the system templates to my templates, going to my templates and activating so that you can then go to an assessment and create one. Okay, so if you don't have AI, or your account that you're using is not AI enabled, you won't be able to do anything other than to give the template a name. So we have under my templates two that are activated, and that's the DPIA and the internal vendor risk assessment. So let's go to assessments and let's see firstly how we add a new assessment. We've got one sitting here, the internal vendor risk assessment, but we'll come back to that shortly. Right. So how do we add? So we go and select the one that we add. This is one of those that we had activated. So data protection impact assessment. The first thing you need to do is complete all the details, um, the name, put in the description, the reporting year, the reporting quarter, the reporting month. And because this template allows a single user to manage more than one role, you can actually you can actually add one user to multiple roles here, and then you click save, and then it creates the assessment for you, and then you move on to going through the various stages. Okay, that's how you add an assessment. This is one that has been added, and I've already started working on this one. So let's just go into this one and see what it is that we need to do to complete the assessment. So there are the details that we captured. Um, and then it allowed me to go through to so I set myself as the same user across all of those various roles. Then it allowed me to go through to the next section, and I just filled in the information. Let me just expand all here. You can see that, okay, I put some dummy data in here, but it's just to show you the concept. Okay, so I've responded to those questions, which then allowed me to go through to the next section, which was the actual start of the assessment. And remember, these questions have been set up and designed within the actual creation of the template. Um, and what I'm doing now is I'm actually responding to those, processing the assessment by responding to those questions. So this is the qualitative stuff. Expand all. Again, I've just put dummy data in there to show you that you do need to respond. And you can see here, this one allows you to add notes and to upload files. And then each time I complete a question, it then changes to green. And then once all of them are green, I can then move on to the next stage. And in this case, the next stage is so let's just collapse all there. The next stage is actually the threat analysis, because an assessment can be made up of a set of questions and a set of threat analyses. In this case, we do have the questions and the threat analysis. There are others that won't necessarily have a threat analysis, but it all depends on how the template was set up. Okay, so I've already responded to two. You can see here that they are in green, two threats that I've responded to. In that the idea was to document the pre-mitigation threat scoring. So what is the current scenario without having applied the controls? And then what is the projected post-mitigation threat scoring if we do accept and apply those controls? Okay, so both of these are done. Let's just have a look at one of them to show you what it looks like. So I had to put in the pre-mitigation threat scoring. And these severity influences and likelihood influences were all part of the original setup within the template. and it returned a risk score of 10.5. I then put in the detailed risk description. Again, if your account is AI enabled, you can use AI to generate the content, come back and verify it, and then continue by indicating what the impact would be should the threat materialize. Similarly, again, you can generate the content. Then moving on to the projected post-mitigation threat scoring, and then also being able to edit or to add the tasks that will be required to move you from a pre-mitigation to a post-mitigation stage. And again, being able to use AI to generate the content, but you can actually add it manually as well. So let's go and look at the threat, and I'll show you how that actually happens. So we're going into service integration, and let's do let's first put in the monetary risk, and we're saying, so what is the total exposure for this particular threat? I'm just going to pick an arbitrary number of X number of dollars or whatever currency. And then what is the cost of the control for this particular threat? And let's put that amount in. Okay, so now we're sitting around the table and we're addressing the severity influences, and we've all agreed that this particular one is medium, and this one is actually high. And then what is the likelihood of it occurring? We'll say, in this case, yes, it is possible. And this one is quite probable that it will happen. So it's brought up a total risk score of 14 out of 25. And then again, put in the detailed risk description. In other words, define the event, use AI if it's so enabled. I'm just going to put dummy data in there as well as for the impact. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the projected post-mitigation scoring, and you can see how it's moved the dials now in terms of the pre-mitigation risk. And then, okay, so now we're saying that we're going to implement those controls. What is the projected post-mitigation? We say, well, that one's actually going to reduce to low, and this one is probably going to go to medium. And, I might be going quickly through this, but it's not obviously to be treated as a tick list. This comes after much discussion and deliberation amongst the team to arrive at what these levels might be after we've applied the controls. So in this case, the likelihood level, let's just say, is moving to unlikely, is going to, and this one will remain as possible. And we can see that the net risk has been reduced to 6.25. Okay, so now we can actually go in and say, well, what are the tasks that we need to help us to move from that pre-mitigation to a post-mitigation stage? And we say, okay, we can generate it and then go and edit it accordingly. Otherwise, because we don't have AI in an account, then we can actually add them manually. I'm not going to add any now. And then similarly, the justification for post-mitigation threat scoring. So, how did we arrive at those levels? Insert that justification in here. Again, use AI if the account is so enabled, and then go back and verify that output from AI. And then we're done with this one. We click Save, and that indication that it is done. So we would then need to complete that one before we move on to the review, the review stage, and then once the review is done, we'll then go on to the approval stage. But I know that these are simply questions that need to be completed, and then you can actually print a report and graphs here. Okay, so here's the data from the first three that we did. This is downloadable to Excel, and then it's displaying on your 5x5 matrix what the pre and post mitigation scenario looks like, and then all of those graphs, which are useful to the guys, to the risk guys. And then what you can also do is you can, well, let me just save this. You can actually download this to PDF and to Excel, or you can just compress everything into a zip file, because will have situations where notes have been added and files have actually been uploaded to this particular assessment. Okay, so that's how you would run. That's how you would actually run your assessments, and then you can actually create any number of risk registers um, where you and include any number of assessments within those registers that might be relevant. It could be a single assessment, it could be multiple assessments that might relate to a particular project. Simply by adding a name here, whatever the assessment um, is going to be, or rather whatever scenario it's going to be, and then put in a description. Okay, you can set your risk appetite and tolerance for that particular scenario. So we'll put in and let's just say it's quarter 2, and then click save. So now we've got the risk register. Now we can actually go into the risk register and we can start adding any assessments that might be relevant. And we can then manage those assessments within the risk register itself. So yeah, fairly simple to add and manage, but it definitely takes practice and an understanding of everything that works behind the scenes as well. So in the next video, we will be looking at how AI enables PrivIQ, and that will be quite a lot of detail in terms of how we can then create our own templates under my templates as well. And so hopefully you'll join me then. Thanks again for your time.